embodied upon a large planet flying through space. I was chatting with a friend earlier about the nature of this existence. In fact, I saw a video this morning in which a friend was sharing her grief and shock at the loss of a friend. Her friend had passed away, reminding us of the fleeting nature of this existence. We don't know when we're going to check out. It reminds me of the quote that came to me before I was diagnosed with a brain tumor just a few days before. Death is certain, its timing uncertain. So, what is important now? And looking at the nature of this life, this experience, it seems so significant, it seems so important, this life, my life. And yet, is it? Is it really so fundamental? Is it really so significant? From a certain perspective it is. And I wanted to offer another perspective that can offer a lightness, a bit more spaciousness. This was, I was chatting with a friend, I was actually sharing a book that I read, a gentleman called Bernardo Kastrup, an astonishing thinker and awesome writer. Loved his book Materialism is Baloney. It was offering the metaphors of water and mercury and so on for reality, for consciousness, for life itself. And it brought to mind a metaphor which has often been very meaningful for me as to the nature of this existence, this life, which is rather like when the waves are crashing around, when the ocean is crashing around, the ocean being that one consciousness, that oneness, this life itself, God, if you like, source energy. And when the water crashes around, when the waves crash around, there will be that moment where a little drop of water is apparently separated from the ocean and it flies through the air and then falls back into the ocean. And we can look at our life, a human life, much in this way. There is this apparent breaking away from the ocean, the apparent separateness, so convincing, as we're hurtling through the air, apart from, and then we return into the source, we return into the ocean. And of course it's true if we look at this metaphor that the entire time that we are travelling, apparently separate, we are always still ocean. We are always still ocean. From the perspective of the drop, it can seem like I am separate. It can seem like I am apart from oneness, from the ocean. But from the perspective of the ocean, and from this meta-perspective that sees the ocean in this metaphor and the drop, we see that it's still ocean. You and I are still ocean. We're still God. We're still source energy. We're still spirit. We're still immaterial being on this little journey, flying through eternity. It reminded me of a beautiful quote I'm going to share with you now. Many of you will be familiar with the Diamond Sutra. A gentleman called Buddha spoke these words some time ago. Thus shall ye think of this fleeting world. A star at dawn, a dewdrop in the morning sun, a bubble in a mountain stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a shadow, a phantom, and a dream. And they are thus to be regarded. I like the bubble in the mountain stream as a metaphor that works in a similar way to the drop of water temporarily connected from the ocean, from the source. Again, from the perspective of the bubble, there's this experience of separation, this experience of selfness, this experience of being apart. and yet simultaneously we are an aspect of, part of, enveloped in, swallowed up in this wholeness, in this river. And of course, to speak of a drop is to disregard the changing nature of that drop as it flies through the sky, through the air, changing shape as forces exert themselves upon it, just as we are in flux, ever-changing. The whole game, the whole nature of this experience, impermanent, changing, in constant motion. It's a simple bit of perceptual trickery, our wonderful brains, that create this illusory experience of permanence. Just earlier on, as we were discussing these metaphors, there are these metal claddings you can perhaps see on either side, and we could hear them groaning. They just groaned just now. There was a little crack as the metal expands and contracts in the heat and the changing temperature of the day. So we see this wall that we would think, surely that is fixed, that is permanent, at least in a classical relative sense or perceptually. And yet if we listen, if we look more closely, we see that that too is changing. That too is changing. Breathing, if you like, contracting, expanding. Nothing fixed, nothing solid, everything in flux, everything immaterial. So it can be helpful to take such a view of our life, to take such a view of this life. Does it not bring a little bit of relaxation, a little bit of spaciousness, expanse, to consider it this way? Fulfilling our life purpose and accomplishments and so on can be seen rather more truly. So as we go about our days, we may want to remember that we are but a dewdrop in the morning sun, a figment of the divine imagination, apparently apart from and yet simultaneously one with Source, one with God, one with consciousness, one with that unnameable, ineffable, unspeakable Thanks for watching.